You know, people get up every day, they do the same thing, tell themselves they're going to change their life one day, and they never do. I'm going to change mine.
What would you do if you weren't afraid? And I love thinking about that when I'm thinking about big life decisions. Like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And it's usually like the big one, the bigger thing that I really want to do, but I'm afraid to do it. It's like, that's what I should do.
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
If you play it safe, you're gonna exist. You only get to live when you take risk. Ain't no living in safety. You can't be the man if you don't jump. You can't be top dog unless you fight the other dog. Ain't nobody finna give you the championship. You don't win the title without coming to the fight. You don't win the fight without training.
You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable scenarios, okay? If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. Let me say it again. If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. As a man, you have to understand that we as men, we do better in environments where we are uncomfortable, okay? You put pressure on a rock, it turns into a diamond.
You gotta let go of that stuff from the past because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you choose to be now.
The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most danger. The comfort zone is somewhere you should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. Anybody ever tell you, hey, look, you know what? Just be satisfied with what you got. Don't believe them. Get them away from you. That's good. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better. All the time. Don't let anybody tell you, hey man, you should just be happy no!
But one of the things that really motivates me, or one of my most powerful motivational frames, is thinking about the person that I want to become as the destination. And thinking like, I want to be bulletproof. I want to be bulletproof in these ways. I want to be bulletproof in my marriage. I want to be bulletproof in my business, etc. And I think about that man, whoever I want him to be. Like we said, hell is when you look at who you could have been and realize that you're not that person. And then I think, if I were to make that man, what would I put that man through to make him who he is? Like, it wouldn't be easy times. It wouldn't be quick wins. It wouldn't even be easy wins. It would be the toil and the struggle of achieving and reaching for things that are right out of grasp, that are right above my threshold, and continuing to do that to like lift the weight, to build the muscle, to break it down and do it over and over again, because like that's what creates the character traits that are the man that I want to be. And so when I'm going through those like really harder times, I like to think of like looking in my mental mirror of like, I'm making you. I'm not there yet, but I'm making you.
So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having wanted, trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision.
You get older, you think about things. My estimate historically, 80% of the time it ends up in the can like Johnny Shack. Or on the embalming table of Cogerelli's. No risk, no reward.
Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want.
This next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is the time to realize that you have a 5-year window, and it's 3 for some, it's 8 for others, but this is a 5-year window for you to attack the life that you want to win.
You have to take chances in life. If you don't take chances in life, you'll never have the life God has for you. Life is about risk. If you play it safe in life, you ain't gonna have much of a life. If you play it safe, you won't have much of a life. Life is risk. It take courage to pursue your dream. I just did it. It cost me everything, but eventually, God is very good, man, when he sees you take a leap of faith. He supplies you everything you need. Now, it's gonna cost you something, but most people are not willing to pay what it costs to go after your dream, because you're gonna have to hurt a little bit.
Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so it looks like this ocean that you're going to step into and drown. But as soon as you step into it, you realize it was not that deep at all, and you can keep walking through it. And I just love that visual, because a lot of times when it's like we have this anxiety around this big decision we have to make, if you actually take the step and realize that it's not death, you're not going to drown immediately. There's plenty of other steps you can take from there, even if you get a little wet.
Every single one of you out there have exactly what you deserve. You might think that life is unfair. You might think that life dealt you a bad hand, but I'm here to tell you, life will give you exactly what you tolerate. And if you've been tolerating mediocrity, you've been tolerating average, you've been tolerating this victim mentality that you're carrying, then guess what? You have exactly what you deserve.
If you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself.
The biggest mistake a person can do right now, no matter in which situation you are, is to give up. You might not reach the best version of yourself in this lifetime, but a better one than you are right now.
You want to be the one that says, I'm going to do it anyway. I know I don't feel good today, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to prove to myself that even on days that it doesn't feel right, I push myself. The only way to gain confidence in yourself is to build something.
You know, people give up right before they get what they've always wanted to get. People quit and they give up. And I will not be the person who quit before I got what I wanted or what I needed or what I felt I was supposed to have.
You're not only winning when things are going your way.
If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
You can doubt the process, question your talent, be uncertain that you're making progress, disparage your accomplishments, permanently feel like you're not working hard enough no matter how hard you work, never give yourself a break, fail to fully feel gratitude, be terrified of never reaching your goals, and still end up in a place that your 20-year-old self could not imagine you'd ever get to. Self-belief is overrated. Generate evidence.
If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? We get one opportunity in life, one chance in life to do whatever you're gonna do, to lay your foundation, to make whatever mark you're gonna make, whatever legacy you're gonna leave your legacy. And it's found through effort. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen, but effort, nobody can judge effort.
I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero. And if you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them. And the difficult part of the lonely chapter is that the Rocky cutscene lasts 90 seconds in the movie and lasts 5 years in reality.
You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
Is that when it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life.
Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything.
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. And this relates to another one, which is a reminder for the gladiators in the arena who feel beat up and scarred with no hope in sight. Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like. And this is why most people can't do it, but you can.
1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life that I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. It's that 1% that we wake up in that morning, we're like, you know what? Not today, maybe tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays, because most motherfuckers are weak.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
Nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. And it's like, as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time. And in your 20s, you can get so scared and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
I've wasted my life hanging out with a bunch of guys just like you, and they all go away at a certain point. So I'm having my own little, okay, well, what have I done with my life so far? So far, fucking nothing. I'm seeing what it's like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
When you turn 30.
Yeah, window to the future.
When you're turn 30 and you're in this situation. And there was like one night where I'd stay up all night long, and rather than give myself excuses, I would look at everything that I'm fucking up in my life or everything I'm not doing or whatever, and just not give myself any fucking excuses out, just like nail it. And I would spend like all night laying out everything I'm doing that's wrong, and then I would spend the last 2 hours figuring out how I can change it. I decided to change my life.
Dream big dreams. Let your mind float free. All really exceptional men and women dream big dreams. They allow their minds to float. They think of what they could be and what they could do and what they really, really want.
Why are you so focused on what could go wrong when everything could go right? By nature, the journey is intimidating. It's built in. That's how it should be. No movie would be exciting if it wasn't, oh, what if he falls off that beam? What if he falls off the bridge and dies? It's supposed to be scary. That's why it's incredible. It's supposed to be scary. You're supposed to risk everything, and you're meant to accomplish it.
The biggest way in life to fail is to let motherfuckers know what you want to do.
Never let them know your next
Never let them know. Yeah. So when I disappear, you know I'm doing something.
It's building up.
You know I'm doing something.
You don't get discipline from your parents, from your grandparents, from your older brothers and sisters. You don't get discipline from an external source. You have to get it from you. That's what self-discipline is. You get it from yourself. You get it from you.
People coming home from work late at night, doing the same module every day. 9 to 5, 9 to 5, living for the weekends. 9 to 5, make a little bit of coin. So they can do what they love with who they love. But the majority of their life is spent in a cubicle doing what they hate next to the motherfucker they hate too. It doesn't make any sense. As time goes on, the windows of opportunities close and they look around like, man, I just had some bad breaks in your life. You know, things didn't work out my way. Bullshit. Take some ownership. Your life is exactly what you wanted. Because every day, you've had choices to make. You're responsible and credible for every single choice. The small ones that you don't even remember. You don't even think anyone else will have credibility or ownership of. Some do have ownership of them. The little tiny nuggets of life. The harder paths. The little tiny seeds that bear the fucking great oak in the forest. They all get planted one day. The little saplings before they turn to the monster. On your account, every single day, you've made the choices.
Billions of people on this planet, and you don't think 100,000 are going to be your fan? 100,000 won't buy your product? 100,000 won't support you?
In order to be successful, you have to fail a lot. To double your rate of failure. If you want to be successful faster, fail more often. You see, there's a law of probabilities that says the more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. The less you fail, the less likely you are to succeed. Peter Drucker says you would never hire a person who has not had some major failures in life because they haven't learned anything. Stick to the fight. When you're hardest hit, it's when things seem worst that you must not quit. And if you don't quit, and if you keep on keeping on, then you will become unstoppable. Top 5% are very clear about where it is they're going and what it is they want to accomplish. And when I look at unsuccessful men and women, or men and women who seem to be unhappy and floundering, I find that almost invariably they have a very, very limited sense of direction, sometimes no sense of direction at all. You see, we as human beings are goal-seeking organisms. We only function at our very best when we're working toward accomplishing something that is important to us. And in my estimation, 80 to 90% of all the unhappiness is caused by people having no sense of direction. They don't know where they're going. As they say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Time management is the control of the sequence of events. But most of your stress in life comes from a feeling that you are out of control of the sequence of events.
So I got an email the other day. This guy's talking about he's struggling to get up, wants to go to the gym and start grinding early in the morning. I said, when I was 24, I had the same condition, man. I had the same problem. So I started studying it. The more I studied it, I came with this crazy conclusion. I was just being a bitch. When I say bitch, it's not gender specific. It's a mindset. In Gogglish, it means weak, soft, feel sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and lace them up.
You get in the car, no music, nothing. You go on a 2-hour-long drive. The driving is just enough stimulation so that you're not so bored where you have to quit, have to scroll, you don't want to yourself. The driving, focusing on the road, just enough stimulation, but then you're thinking for hours and hours. A lot of people say, my best shots are in the shower. Shower thoughts. The only reason shower thoughts are a thing is because that's the only time in the day most people aren't distracted by something significant. Just water over you, and then you're thinking for 5 minutes. And you have incredible ideas in just that 5 minutes. Imagine if you gave it more time.
A person who's making $250,000 a year is not 10 times smarter or better than a person who's making $25,000 a year. Why is there 10 times the difference in income? And you go all the way up the ladder to a person who's making $2.5 million a year. Is that person 100 times better, smarter than the person making $25,000 a year? Impossible.
You just stare at nothing. You close your eyes, you stare at a wall, and let yourself think for 10, 15 minutes a day. Your life will change. That's how you get in touch with your identity, your mind, your ideas. That's how you come up with something incredible. If you feel stuck, it's not because you're an idiot. It's not because you don't have good ideas. You're not letting your mind open up. It's the most powerful thing this universe has ever created. Science cannot comprehend the human brain, and it will never be able to comprehend the human brain. It is too incredible. It's too powerful. All you have to do is let it work. It takes like 10 minutes to boot up. So every day, just get into practice this. Stare at a wall. A lot of people just hope. They just wait for an idea to pop in their head, something to happen. They're like, why is my depression not going away? Why do I feel so stuck? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for something. I'm stuck. I'm waiting. You have to put conscious effort in.
I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent the idea that you really can make what you want. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho. And I just believe that. I believe that I can create whatever I want to create.
Do not save your dreams for somebody else to do. Every single day you wake up and somebody that had less than you
ends up with more than you. And that should drive you fucking insane. Watching somebody steal your dreams, watching somebody live their dreams for you is the ultimate form of regret. Why not you? You have the tools, you have the brain power, you have the abilities, you are more than capable to conquer the world, but for some reason, you're stuck in this irrational box of beliefs that you're destined for being fucking mediocre.
The law of belief simply says that whatever you believe with feeling, and this is the key, with feeling, and the more emotion you put into a belief, becomes your reality. It becomes your reality because you will always act in a manner consistent with your beliefs. As a matter of fact, your entire reality right now is simply an outward picturing of your most intensely held beliefs. If you believe something that is positive or believe something that is negative, or as Henry Ford said, if you believe you can do a thing or if you believe you cannot, you are right.
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years. And I dated it Thanksgiving 1995. And I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff. And just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on.
You have to take full responsibility for everything that you do. Why be subservient? You must be the master of your own kingdom. You got to walk into things with your eyes fully open. You got to know what you're getting into. You have to take possession of your life.
When you do find success, because you will, stay vigilant and stay humble, because you never know. Sometimes if you have success and it was a little too easy, it's hard to see at the time.
If you play with fear of failure, or you play with a will to win, or that supersedes the fear of failure, I think it's a weakness either way. Right? Because if you play with the fear of failing, you'll have the pressure on yourself to play, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? And that enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So I try to just be dead center.
Life is hard, and that's the way it's always been. It's our lot. Now, if you don't want to accept that, that's up to you, okay? But it's our lot. It's our place.